What is going on, guys? This is Randall419 back with the Xbox 2 podcast, episode 39, and with me, as always, is the one and only Jez Yarden of Windows
Yar.
Central. That's your pirate name, by the way.
Yeah, that's my pirate name. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. I wonder how many people are going to change their gamer tag to pirate themed stuff after March.
Maybe you should, or at least your Twitter handle.
Yeah, I think I'll at least do that. That'd be cool.
Maybe you should put like a pirate's hat on your little cat there. You know.
Oh, good point. Yeah, I'll do that for the next show, maybe.
Yeah. So, there's been a lot going around this past week since we last did the show. A lot of topics to discuss. Juz went on a vacation to Rare Studios.
I did. I went to Rare, and it was amazing. But yeah.
But you can't say anything about.
I can talk about the studio, I think, but I can't talk about Sea of Thieves.
But you did see Sea of Thieves there, right? Like the full experience, maybe?
No, not even the full experience. Just we saw more stuff, and there's still going to be more surprises even later on. So God knows how much stuff is coming, but I was pretty impressed, put it that way.
Yeah, you posted on Twitter like, I am no longer concerned about Sea of Thieves.
Nope.
So it must have been pretty good.
Like a lot of people, I was kind of worried about the content density, but my fears are gone now. I won't say any more than that.
All right. Well, while you were gone, a lot of things happened. EA had their earnings call. Star Wars Battlefront 2 missed expectations. Anthem officially delayed. New Battlefield game confirmed. A whole bunch of stuff, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Obviously, we'll talk about like my Sea of Thieves experience and maybe contrast that to Jez's. And the big rumor, which I swear to God, every single week in January, like the beginning of like Monday or Tuesday, there's been some ridiculous rumor that pops up, and sure enough, this week was no exception. And Polygon put out a rumor that Microsoft was looking to buy not only EA, Valve, and PUBG Core. They were just looking to buy everybody. I swear, every single week, Jez, every single week, like at the beginning of January, there was a leak about the games. Then the next week, it was a leak about the Elite Controller version 2. Then it was the leak about Fable. And now it's the leak about Microsoft buying corporations. And the booty era is upon us, like... I mean, so many different things. And we'll make sure to talk about all that stuff. But first, as always, what have you been playing, Jez?
I've been playing Sea of Thieves. We can talk about the beta. I obviously played the beta a lot. I played very, very briefly Monster Hunter World, but I haven't really played enough to talk about it. I was traveling. I was really busy on Friday and Saturday, so I didn't really play anything. And then I was traveling Sunday, Monday, and then Rare on Tuesday. So haven't really played much at all, man. Sadly. How about you?
I played PUBG. Games haven't been going very well, so I haven't played much of it. I played Sea of Thieves for 4 hours on Friday with Phil. That was fun. Getting to see what the difference was between the alpha and the beta. I still have my concerns, just like you. I'm not really sure the whole or the whole cosmetic like reward structure is for me, But I kind of want to see what the rest of the game offers and how big the island is and how big the map is with all the different islands and all the different stuff that the game offers. But it was an enjoyable experience. Like, I always thought Sea of Thieves would be an enjoyable experience with your friends for like 20 to 30 hours. Like, once you kind of been everywhere on the map, done all the quest lines, and stuff. So it's like, I always kind of figured it would be fun for a certain amount of time, but then, the longevity would like wear thin for me. So I'm interested in seeing when your article comes out. When does your article come out about all that stuff?
Well, it's going to be several articles, all dropping on February 13th. I got a lot of content.
Yeah, so I'll be looking out for that because I want to know what Sea of Thieves offers. I mean, it did extremely well on Twitch, did it not? I mean, almost like every single day it was number one or close to it.
Yeah, the only
Um,
time it went down once because of the Counter-Strike tournament, I think. But other
yeah,
than that, it was just totally dominant, I think, pretty much.
too much water, 0 to 10 for my GN. Yeah, probably
Too much water.
too much water. So there's a lot of interest in the game. I wonder if they're gonna have an open beta at some point. Like, clearly, this closed beta was designed to test their servers, see how many people they can allow in at once. I wonder if they'll have an open beta down the line to see if they can break the game. You know?
Yeah, I reckon they will. I hope they do. That'd be pretty cool. Um, they maxed out the beta, didn't they? They maxed out the beta servers and that to bring on more online because they didn't realize how many people were going to jump in. So I think breaking the servers would probably be a good idea. The only way you can do that is with an open beta. So let's hope. I'd love to get back in before March.
I know you
Man,
would. You
such a
love
long.
that game. You love it.
I do. I do.
Jazz would DM me, be like, I freaking love Sea of Thieves, man. I freaking love it.
Well, I love what I've played and I love what I've seen, but again, like you, it's kind of like um, how much longevity is this going to have? So hopefully they nail everything that they've told us about, and if they do, then it's going to be plain sailing.
Oh, gotta love the puns. Gotta love the puns.
uh,
So, I mean, yeah, I posted the video. It was like 12 minutes long, detailing what we went through, my adventure on the game, and we'll see what it's like. Whether an open beta happens or whether you know, what the full game launches in March. I'll be playing it. I also played Celeste,
oh yeah, I've seen quite a bit of buzz about this. It's a
dude.
platformer, right?
Yeah, so it's got a 94 on Metacritic, and it deserves every single point.
I'm
Like, I'm
gonna
not even
I'm gonna
kidding.
buy it
Like,
then. God,
I like my review will be coming out either tonight or tomorrow. I'm still not finished with it yet. I need to like edit the clips together, but honest to honest to God,
is
I
it
freaking
ID at
love.
Xbox?
It's on everything. It's on Xbox, PS4, Switch,
Yeah, but is it
PC.
ID at Xbox? Is it?
Yes, it's ID at Xbox.
Yeah,
Um,
keep for it then.
it's very much like Super Meat Boy, so it's one of those kind of platformers, but like very very hard, very precise platforming, and it is just so freaking good, man. Like, so good. I'll have a little bit more in-depth review later on, but for now, like, it's honestly, it's gonna be in my top 5 game of the year for sure. Like, it is
Wow.
just that good. So
Oh, I've got a key. Shall I give away? I'll give away a key in the chat as well, since people are pretty cool on this stream.
yeah, so I'll have a review up. Like, it is absolutely amazing game. Don't sleep on it. I know there's a lot of stuff out like Monster Hunter World, which I have, but I'm not playing because I have no interest in Monster Hunter World and Dragon Ball Z. There's a lot of games coming out, and I don't want this one slipping through the cracks because it is an absolute phenomenal game. But what else did I play? God of War. Played a little bit of God of War. I'm going to be starting it tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to finish it. I've played a little bit of it, but I had some other things to do. And honestly, like, for being I think it came out in 2009 or 2010. I'm not sure what year it came out on the PS3, but I mean, the game really looks good. And that, like, intro where Kratos is climbing Olympus along with the help of Gaia was just, it's freaking epic, man.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine what it was like back in 2009. I mean, some things, other games have copied since then. But whew, man, it just I started it and I'm like, okay, and then I ended it for the night because it was late, and then I started up Celeste, and like Celeste grabbed me, and I was like, oh my god, this is so amazing. So, God of War will be finished, and I'll have a I did kill Poseidon. That was like the last thing that happened. I'm in Hades now. So I'm going to be finishing that up. I also want to try out some more PSVR stuff, Jez. I want to play that Moss demo. I hear so much about Moss. I'm going to try that out, as well as try out Resident Evil 7, because I do have that. So I'm going to try out some more VR games, and then I'll make a video about my official impressions about PSVR. And I also tried out Wolverblade, which came out today on Xbox and PS4. It's like a side-scrolling brawler. I'm going to play a little bit more of that, and then I'll have a video up about it. I did actually pre-order a game today, Jazz. You're gonna guess what game I pre-ordered. Which I don't do this very often. Like I don't really pre-order games in advance. I usually, if I pre-order a game, it's like the day before or the day of, But I actually pre-ordered this game. Can you guess what it is?
Pre-order game. Is it the latest Barbie game?
I would if I could, Jez. I would if I could.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't even know what games are coming. I just take it every day as it comes.
You just take every day as it comes. All right, so I'll give you a little hint. It comes out next week. Currently has a 93 on Metacritic. Is that enough info for you?
Nope.
No, it's only on PlayStation 4.
No idea.
Shadow of the Colossus, man.
All right. That's the game with the giants, right?
Yeah, the game with the giants. This is the last PS2 game I ever played. It's like one of my favorite games of all time. And man, like I can't wait to delve back in. That remake looks incredible. So can't wait to play that. I think that comes out on the 6th. Ooh. Lot of gaming to be done. A lot of gaming.
I didn't play much on PS2. I think I was like exceptionally poor around that time.
Exceptionally poor, huh?
Yeah, I couldn't afford many games around then. I used to just play Final Fantasy 11 just all the time, nothing else.
Was 11 the MMO?
Yeah, and it was on PS2 with a keyboard. You could control the whole game with just a keyboard. It was interesting and weird. And yeah, I never played that, sadly.
Never played that one. I didn't play 11, but I played my first Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy 7. I played 7, 8, 9, 10, skipped 11, didn't play 12. I played 13, didn't play 13.2 and 13.3 or Lightning Returns, whatever they call it. Didn't play 14, and then I played a little bit of 15.
Final Fantasy 11 might be the game I hate the most.
The game you hate the most?
What? It was soul-destroyingly difficult.
Oh man.
It was so punishing. Like if you died, you lost XP, you could level down, and then you couldn't play with your friends anymore. It was aggressively punishing. I have nightmares about that game every now and then. But yeah, 7 was the first I played too. I went all through them until 11, and then 11 sort of served me to the whole franchise. I had to have therapy about that game. No, not really.
Like 7 and 8 like defined like the PS2 era for me.
PS1.
Was it PS1 or PS2? Was it? PS1. Yeah, it was. Okay, it was PS1. Okay, because I sometimes forget like what gens they came out or what systems are on. But
10 was the first on PS2.
Yeah, 10 was the first, and it was nowhere near as good as 7, 8, or 9.
I still like 10. It had really good.
10 has its moments for sure.
The voice acting was terrible in the West.
Well, true. So but 7, I think I played 7 through 6 times. I played 8 through 3 times. Honestly, there are days where I know this might be a controversial opinion, but I honestly, some days I'll say Final Fantasy 8's better than Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, no.
I know, right?
No.
I don't know what it is, man, but
I played a lot of both of those games too. Final Fantasy 8's the only Final Fantasy that I've like quote unquote 100% in killed all the optional bosses. But I still think 7's better overall. I think the story's more cohesive in 7. Like 8 is kind of like when you get to the end. At least when I was a kid, I got to the last part of 8 without spoiling it for people that have played, and I was kind of like, "What the hell's going on?" And we got time travel now, and all. But the last boss in 8, where the acoustic guitar comes in, goosebumps every time, man. You know what I'm talking about.
Maybe you just said why I liked 8 so much because of the time travel. I do like stuff with time travel.
The last boss was.
But dude, the music, how like 8 opened up with that like choir, and then like all the music. Oh my god, it was so awesome.
I had a demo disc which just had the Final Fantasy 8 intro on, and I watched it like 50 times when I was a kid. I was
I,
so hyped for 8. I
I
was like,
still listen to the music. Even I'll even put on like the last song from Final Fantasy VIII. Like, um, how's it go? Like I can hear it in my head right now, and I'm not gonna sing because I have a terrible singing voice. I'm not gonna. I don't want to frighten the viewers. But oh man, I'm just thinking about it now, and it just makes me smile, man.
the composer's called Nobu Uematsu, right?
Yeah, and he did. Remember when Lost Odyssey came out for 360?
Yeah.
And like they brought him to do the music and the guy who did Final Fantasy together, and it was like, oh, and Lost Odyssey basically is a Final Fantasy game, just not called Final Fantasy.
Pretty much.
I
God, nostalgia, man. This has
know,
become
right?
a nostalgia cast now.
Nostalgia cast, yeah.
Speaking of like PS1 games and stuff, people are talking about Resident Evil in the chat too, and Resident Evil 2 remake might be announced really soon. The
Mhm.
website went live recently. Well, the domain went live. The website didn't go live, but it looks like they're starting to, now that Monster Hunter's launched, the Resident Evil 2 remake marketing might be starting to come in now. So I think we're going to hear about Resident Evil 2 soon, probably maybe before E3.
Hope so. I love Resident Evil 2 was my like if I had to rank Resident Evils, it'd be Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 1, maybe, and then maybe Resident Evil 7. Like Resident Evil 2, I loved Resident Evil 2, right? So the fact that they're remaking it, I'm just kind of curious what it's going to be like. Is it more like Resident Evil 1 remake or is it going to be
I hope it's more like 1 remake. I love Resident Evil 2 as well. It's one of my favorite games of all time, which is all the more heartbreaking considering Hideki Kamiya blocked me on Twitter.
I saw he blocks everybody though.
Yeah, I don't think he blocked me for any particular reason. He just, I don't know, he just blocked me. But man, it hurts being blocked by your hero. But
Mm.
I have kind of slated the whole Scarebound thing, so I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
Scalebound's available right now on the Xbox. It's just called Monster Hunter World.
Monster Hunter Scalebound
I
World.
mean, it does look a lot like Scalebound, doesn't it? I mean, kind of.
It's true. I think like uh I don't think Scalebound would have been as good as Monster Hunter World. It wouldn't have been as well received for sure. Uh anyway, should we get
Anyway.
back on track?
Yeah, I mean, we should. We kind of, I don't even know how we dovetailed in that, but that's what this podcast does sometimes. That's why it's real and organic because it's just two friends having a conversation
Yeah, man.
about whatever we want.
And
Sometimes it happens, and sometimes we'll go on tangents like that. You know, you never know. You never know what you're going to get with Jez and Rand.
that's true.
You
That
never
is
know.
true.
So what do you want to tackle first? You want to tackle this Star Wars EA stuff before we get into Microsoft buying every corporation on the face of the planet?
Sure, yeah, let's go. Let's do some Battlefront 2 EA fiscals.
So they had their fiscal earnings call, and Star Wars missed out on its sales expectations. They expected 10. I think they shipped 9. I think they only sold 7 or something. But they also said microtransactions are coming back real soon. And yeah, I mean, are you surprised? I mean, honestly, when they said that they expected 10 and ship 9, it didn't really seem like there was that much of a like they suffered that much from people boycotting the game, right? If they only like lost out on 1 million sales, I mean, even if you look at their
apparently those figures were wrong, and they corrected them later to say that they shipped 7 million, not 9 million.
okay, well that's
I read that somewhere.
so they missed out on 3. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a little bit.
it's still they still made stupid money. I mean,
Yeah.
most devs would be like creaming over 7 million or 9 million, whichever it is. It's kind of like the boycott didn't really affect it much, except for the fact they removed microtransaction completely. But I think that number probably would have been lower if they hadn't removed the microtransactions. I think a lot of people stopped feeling guilty about buying it when they did remove them. But EA, man, they're just a heartbreaking company. I mean, we talked about them on here a lot. And,
Well, they're like an all-time high. Their stock price. or
Yeah.
getting close to it. Like I know when people were like running with, oh, EA lost $3 billion in value of stock prices right before Star Wars came out. Well, look what happened. I mean, that's the thing. Like EA is too big of a company for just one title to take them down for any significant amount of time. I mean,
Mm.
they mentioned that FIFA had 42 million players and Battlefield 1 has 25 million players and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
their other games are doing extremely well and bringing in a lot of money. It was just that Battlefield 2 just didn't meet expectations. It probably still made them money. It just probably didn't make them as much money as they thought they were going to make.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Battlefront 2 is probably profitable, and especially when they bring the microtransactions back. I mean, it depends what form they bring them back in. I mean, they were sort of hinting at a customization system coming in, and maybe they'll just fall back on cosmetics, and everyone will be like, "Yay, cosmetics!" and completely forget everything they did that was just evil and stuff. But the fact remains is that Battlefront 2 is a fun game overall, you know, and it's kind of like. Uh, at the end of the day, what's more important? Is it joining an internet boycott or is it having fun? If you're a Star Wars fan and you like shooters, the best game you can buy right now is probably Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Um,
Sam wants to know how long EA has the Star Wars license for to their current contract. I think it was 2022.
yeah, it's a few years left.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a shame, man.
I
I,
mean,
I don't know.
they could squeeze out, let's see, in 2020 or 2019, they could have another Battlefront game out, Battlefront 3. Respawn's game, I think they said was scheduled for 2020, right? Or was it 2019? I forget.
I actually didn't see, man, because after yesterday, I just went straight to bed. I didn't read everything.
Yeah. Um so yeah, I mean there was that whole stuff with Star Wars. Then the Anthem officially delayed, even though Blake Jorgensen said it wasn't a delay. It's like, but you announced it for 2018 and now it's 2019. I mean, that's a delay. Um and the reason he gave was that because they're launching a new Battlefield game in October and it wouldn't make sense for them to also release Anthem, which is a new IP, so they wanted to
Uh,
give it its own
what
window.
about Titanfall 2?
That's a different story. I'm still of the opinion there's like, put on my tinfoil hat, that EA did that intentionally to screw over Respawn and drive down the asking price for that company.
Man, if they did, they're even more scummy than I thought. And Respawn will probably end up on the pile of dead bodies, along with Visceral and eventually BioWare and all the other studios that EA has killed over the years.
I
I got
mean,
no faith, man, in anything under the EA banner. I have no faith in. I can't get excited for it. I just don't care about it anymore, and I'll just wait until release and try it for myself, review it or whatever. No, there's no hype train from me for EA anymore.
yeah, I
Uh,
mean, just think about that. Last year, maybe, or was it last year or the year before? No, it was the year before. They released Battlefield 1 the week before Titanfall 2, and then Call of Duty released the week after. And then suddenly they're like, yeah, we're not going to release Anthem because we don't want to compete with Battlefield. Like, where was that chain of thought when Titanfall 2 was coming out? I don't know, but they said so they're moving it to October, and it was interesting because the way he said it was that they don't set release dates for when the game's actually done. It's more to set like their financial obligations to Wall Street and shit.
mm.
So yeah, so that's coming out sometime before March of next year, and Battlefield, man, Battlefield, like a new Battlefield, so that's confirmed. The rumors have been that it's Bad Company 3, which I wanted ever since Bad Company 2, but I fear that it's going
Why
to,
though? I mean,
because Bad Company is amazing. Bad Company 1
what's
and
the
Bad
difference?
Company.
Bad Company 2 was basically just Battlefield 3 and 4. There was no real differentiation there. What is the differentiation? I played Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 to hell. What's the differentiation? They're all modern day shooters. The only one that was a bit different was Bad Company 1, which had the whole, sort of light-hearted sort of campaign. But Bad Company 2 What's the differentiation with that brand? I don't know why people are like, yeah, Bad Company's coming back. What's the big deal? It's just going to be
because
Battlefield 5,
because
basically.
I like the story. I like the main characters that they had. It was funny, man. It was irreverent.
I don't remember the characters in Battlefield
Well,
2.
you see, this
Bad
is
Company
why
2.
we play games different. I don't like look. Battlefield's multiplayer is Battlefield's multiplayer. Sure, Bad Company 1, Bad Company 2 is multiplayer. I mean, they're just precursors to Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1, right? But like there was just something charming about the single player story that they put together for Bad Company 1 and Bad Company 2 with those characters that I just greatly enjoyed. It was
I don't
different.
even remember them. I don't
Jazz,
remember.
you
Not memorable, man.
Jazz, come on, buddy.
Not
But but the idea is like, okay, so like look, you can tell EA needs to get back in good graces, right? And what is the one thing a lot of Battlefield fans have been asking for a long time, and that's Bad Company. And what is the rumor? That Bad Company's coming back. I mean,
memorable.
which it's going to be interesting because if Bad Company comes back and it's a sequel, obviously Bad Company 3 means it's modern day. I mean, is it going to take a hit if it's not Battlefield 1, 2, or like set in old, like, because it seems like with how well Battlefield 1 did and how amazingly Call of Duty World War 2 is, World War 2 and World War 1 are in, like, huge. Do you take the risk and go back to modern times when it seems people are like, yo, we want the old stuff? Right? Or
They could make a World War II Battlefield, like 1940, whatever.
yeah, I mean, they did have that arcade game on the Xbox Live and PSN, Battlefield 1942 or
Yeah,
43 or whatever it was.
they could make
But
a
either
sequel
way,
to that. Or it could be Battlefield Bad Company 3 set in World War II.
Battlefield Bad Company 3 where you go up against the Russians. There you go.
And Nazis. It could be like Inglorious Bastards. Then you've got the irreverent focus campaign.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the World War II fanboys, and you've got Bad Company branding. Boom! There you go, EA. Hire me.
Hire
Don't
Jazz.
hire me. I'll be sick.
Hire Jazz. So yeah, there's that. So Anthem, like I've said before, I need to be sold again on Anthem. I really do, and that's a shame because I do love BioWare.
I loved old BioWare. New BioWare doesn't exist.
So you loved Coke, but you hate new Coke, but you want to love Coke again.
I want to love Coke again, and Dragon Age Inquisition was good-ish, but it wasn't as good as the original. And after all the high-profile BioWare stuff that has left the studio, and all the stuff with EA, rushing Andromeda out the door. And I know it's not the same studio; it's BioWare Edmonton and all that stuff. But I just don't believe that EA is treating that studio with the respect and leniency that it needs, the creative sort of freedom that they need to thrive. I don't think EA is giving that to them, and I don't believe that Anthem's going to be any good. I think it's going to be as shallow as Destiny, and it's going to be a huge disappointment.
No, don't say. So you're saying EA needs to put some respect on BioWare's name? They need to do that?
I think they need to actually let BioWare finish the game without pressuring them to basically carry the whole company, because that's that whole thing that came out in Kotaku before when the Anthem stuff originally leaked. Some source was talking to Kotaku and basically saying the morale in the studio is really bad because everyone at BioWare feeling the pressure of all the negativity surrounding EA and all the negativity surrounding Mass Effect Andromeda, and people don't have faith in BioWare and EA anymore, and I'm just not optimistic about it, and it pains me, because BioWare's made some of my favorite games of all time: Mass Effect 2, Dragon Age Origins. I even grew to like Dragon Age 2 after like hating it initially, and Dragon Age Inquisition. I played the hell out of that game.
Yeah.
And
maybe Microsoft should have bought BioWare back in 2007. We wouldn't have this problem then.
They should have done.
Exactly.
So who did you buy for that? Don Matry?
Who 2007? Would that be Peter Moore, I believe? Was Peter Moore run the show?
I don't
I
know.
think so. But I mean, that remember because they were together with it was BioWare, and it was a studio that did Mercenaries. I forget the name of them.
Oh, Pandemic.
Pandemic, and then EA bought them, and then Pandemic did the Saboteur, which was a really good game, such a sleeper hit. Like if any of you guys have the Saboteur and haven't played it, play that game. It was really good.
I was waiting for Saboteur to hit backwards compatibility actually, and it probably
That's the
won't.
one that had the DLC with naked boobies in the game. Remember?
Game of the year.
Yeah,
Game
game
of
of the
the
year.
year.
And then BioWare, and then like they bought them both, and it was like $1 billion or whatever it was. And everybody knew EA bought BioWare. It was just to buy BioWare, and as soon as they canceled, I think they did Mercenaries 2. Maybe it was Mercenaries 3. And as soon as that game came out, they shut down Pandemic, and they're just like, yes, BioWare, we have you now. You know? And look what happened to BioWare. Now one of the greatest franchises from last gen that started last gen, Mass Effect, is dead. It's dead. It's on ice. It ain't coming back. Well, maybe it'll come back 10 years from now, but how do you do that? How do you kill Mass Effect? Are you like, and now you have Anthem, which looks cool originally, but it's just like, oh, it's gonna be tied up in loot boxes and all this nonsense. It's like you've killed BioWare almost completely. Like shame on you. Shame on you, EA. Shame on you. Look what you did to EA. Like now I'm thinking of all the great games that BioWare made. Like not only did they made them do like the old the online Star Wars game, the Old Republic. People didn't want the Old Republic. People wanted KOTOR 3. Like they wanted a single player in-depth Star Wars RPG. They didn't want this stupid massive MMO, and I don't think the Old Republic's done well at all for them. So such mismanaged. But then again, would Microsoft have done any better with them during that time?
Apparently, the Old Republic was the most expensive video game ever made at the time.
I believe it.
Like hundreds of thousands of lines of dialogue, voice dialogue. It's shallow dialogue, but dialogue nonetheless.
I believe it. They were trying to be
work to play that game.
They were trying to be World of Warcraft, and they couldn't do it. But
failed so bad. It was the engine, man. They used some third-party MMO engine, and it was garbage.
God, we never got a sequel to Jade Empire.
Yeah, that's a shame too.
Oh, come on,
come on, man!
Come on,
fix it, yeah. No sequel to Dead Space.
I know, right? Visceral's gone. We got Respawn doing a Star Wars game.
They killed Maxis, the whole Sim City stuff, the Sim City Online, always online crap, and God, how do they do this? They have so many amazing franchises under their belts, and they fucked them all up. How do they do this? Oh my God!
I mean, at least they still let them make Dragon Age, I guess.
That'll be the last Dragon Age. Guaranteed.
This will be the last one. You're done. No more Dragon Age for you.
And it's gonna be as buggy as Andromeda, and it's gonna kill the franchise and then kill BioWare, and then EA will literally be the Battlefield FIFA company, FIFA, Madden, Battlefield.
Oh man, like seeing the visuals of the new Shadow of the Colossus, the remake, because it's not a remaster. I see some talk about it being a remake or remaster. Like they remastered it for the PS3. This one's like a remake. They completely redid it. But can you imagine if somebody just remade Dead Space 2 and 1 and just put it on current gen? Oh man, I want those games to come back. Remastered or remade or whatever.
I'd love a remastered Mass Effect 1.
Yes! The Mass Effect trilogy.
Like, polish up the combat a bit, add some more side quests, make the worlds a little bit less bland. In fact, don't even add the planetary exploration. Just, make it more linear like the second one, maybe. And just remake that game. And I'll love you again, EA. If you do that, dude, I'll love you again.
With the rumored Burnout Paradise coming back, right? Mm-hmm. And considering EA said that they don't like doing remasters because it's not part of their, they just saw no value in it. I don't know what made them change their mind. So if they're redoing Burnout Paradise, which I'm sure they have no interest in actually making a new Burnout, then like might as well remake Dead Space trilogy and the Mass Effect trilogy for Christ's sake. You know, at least give me something. Like God, maybe I would skip Mass Effect 1 because Mass Effect 1's not very good, at least in comparison to 2 and 3. I know. I'm sure there will be people in chat that disagree with me, but
So I don't get that argument that Mass Effect 1 was the best one, because no, the combat was awful. It was terrible. And like, yeah, it had awesome stories inside this clunky mess that was the game's combat. But like, pound for pound, Mass Effect 2 destroys Mass Effect 1. Especially when you throw in all the DLC. Like, Lair of the Shadow Broker is arguably one of the best little DLCs ever.
Yes, I agree.
Incredible DLC. And there's even a Twin Peaks Easter egg in that DLC.
Too bad they ruined it with the ending to 3, though, huh? Am I right?
I actually didn't mind the ending to 3.
Are you serious right now, Jess? Are you serious right now?
I was satisfied.
Are you serious? You cannot have been satisfied with that garbage.
The thing is, man, I took all of Mass Effect 3 as the ending, right? And not to spoil it for people who haven't played, but that Mass Effect 3 let me do super renegade things. I got to shoot player characters in renegade moments, and ended those plots with a gun. And I thought, yes, this is awesome. And I was so happy at getting to shoot certain characters that I've hated throughout the whole franchise that I didn't mind the ending, because I'd already been provided closure.
Really?
Yes.
You like that freaking Skittles ending? Choose your color, which had no variation of what happened? Get out of here.
I didn't mind the ending.
That ending was garbage.
It was annoying that none of your decisions mattered.
Oh, in a game where they touted from the very beginning that your decisions matter, and then they end up not mattering in the end.
They do matter. They do matter throughout the whole game. Throughout the whole game, they matter. Throughout the whole game, they matter. It's just at the very end they don't matter. But Rex wasn't in my Mass Effect 3 because I shot him with a shotgun for insubordination.
Well, Rex was in my Mass Effect 3, but I couldn't have him in my party because it wasn't allowed.
Well, he was dead in my playthrough. That shows that your decisions matter.
No. It's like the Telltale games. They're insignificant decisions. You can't really, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, okay, who you can have with you changes, but like the main story thrust is the same. Like, I was expecting, and maybe it's unrealistically, like, vastly, wildly different endings.
The whole army charging towards the Reapers at the end? It was amazing.
It was so stupid.
It wasn't stupid.
Don't even get me so...
You're stupid. You are stupid.
Dumb, Jazz. It was so dumb.
No, it wasn't. It was awesome.
The rest of the game up to that point was great. And you know what? I even liked the theory that Shepard was indoctrinated. I actually think that's the real ending to that game, because it makes so much sense. And I know BioWare's come out and said that's not the case. But you know what? You threw so many different, like, absurd, like, so many different clues and things that lead to believe that. So to me, Mass Effect 3 is basically ends with Shepard being indoctrinated and dying. Like, screw, like, that whole other ending nonsense. Like, okay, so you get on top of this thing and you meet like the Deus Machina, this freaking Star Child ghost. Get the fuck out of here,
man. Do you just have no... You need to keep an open mind with these things, man.
I do. I love Mass Effect so much, and then they destroyed the whole ending. I mean, I love Mass Effect.
The Star Child was...
It was dumb. I mean, it was something that was never talked about, and then like 10 minutes before it ends, it's like...
The Star Child was a personification of the Reapers. God. You're a Philistine, Ran.
I'm a Philistine?
You're a Philistine. You don't appreciate...
Look, I've had this discussion with my friends when we like back when Mass Effect 3 came out, and it's reminding me of one of my friends was like really liking them. Like, you're an idiot. How could you like this? I just love Mass Effect, and like, look, Mass Effect 3 is great. I loved everything up to the point of the ending, so it doesn't take away from the experience from, you know, my experience from before the ending. But that ending, that's some hot diarrhea.
Oh God, you're just ignorant, man. But I'll forgive you.
Okay,
I'll forgive you.
You forgive me. Good. All right, so I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. We were talking about
I'm
EA.
gonna interject with some breaking news.
Breaking news. Uh-oh. Who did
Microsoft,
Microsoft buy? Huh? What?
Microsoft just announced their quarterly earnings. Dun, 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 dun.
How much money did they make? Billions or millions?
Ooh, they made billions of
Billions of dollars. Okay, how much? How?
increased to 29.2. Oh no, wait, no. Uh oh, that's the wrong figure. Revenue was 28.9 billion, increased 12%. Operating income was 8.7 billion and increased 10% year on year. Blah 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 blah. Driven by Office and the cloud, as you might expect.
Cloud. And
Now here's the interesting part. Gaming revenue increased 8%, driven by Xbox hardware revenue growth from Xbox One X launch. So that's good for Xbox. Service revenue increased 1%, but is relatively unchanged due to inflation, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so Microsoft shares are now up 3 points, and it was a pretty good quarter for Microsoft and pretty decent for Xbox. Softwares and service and hardware all up for Xbox. Not bad, eh?
yeah, pretty good.
And
Pretty
also,
good.
there was no mention of Microsoft buying EA.
Oh no, imagine that. No, no mention of Microsoft buying EA. But they
Yeah.
haven't come out and said that they aren't buying EA. Remember when, like, the day after Coalition was working on new IP, they're like, "No, it's not. No, they're not. No, don't think about that for a second." This rumor's been going around, and neither EA nor Microsoft has said anything. But
Well, I think part of that is not wanting to discredit Polygon.
Polygon does a good job discrediting themselves.
Yeah, I guess so. But you know, I mean, should we talk about this now? We haven't talked about this yet.
If you want to talk about Xbox buying EA and Valve and all that stuff?
Yeah. Okay. So for context, for people who are watching who might not know, there was a rumor started by Polygon that suggested, was it by anonymous sources or a source close to
Source close to Microsoft. Now I don't understand if that means it's a source at Microsoft or a source who's close to somebody at Microsoft, like a friend of a friend, or my uncle works for Nintendo type thing. You know what I mean? Because there's like a source close to my, like, when he says close to Microsoft, the impression I get reading it is like the person actually doesn't work for Microsoft. They're just close to someone who does, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, either way, anonymous source claimed that Microsoft was exploring buying EA itself, as well as Valve and PUBG Corporation, Bluehole or whatever. And so Polygon started that rumor. EA shares rose on the rumor of the buyout. So Polygon is a big outlet, and they are seen as credible. And however, I am skeptical.
Are you skeptical? What makes you skeptical, Jez?
EA is worth 35 billion, 40 billion dollars. I don't think even Microsoft can buy EA. I don't think they could possibly justify buying EA in any way. I don't think it'd be a good smart move for Microsoft. I don't think it'd be a smart move for the industry. And it just seems ridiculous no matter how you look at it.
So EA is what, valued at $36 billion?
Yeah,
right?
something like that. I've seen 35 billion I've seen 40 billion.
So for hostile takeover, you're probably looking at double. So it would probably cost Microsoft 70 million to buy them, because they would have to come in and just buy up, like, yeah, it would have to be a hostile. They wouldn't, like, if they're valued at 36 billion, there's no way Microsoft actually buys them for 36. It'd be more like 50. At that point, you have to wonder, okay, what are we spending all this? Like, they bought LinkedIn for 26 billion. They bought Minecraft for 2. Are you telling me they're buying this? The thing about EA is, like, their value is in their licenses they have. They have the NFL license. They have the NHL license. They have the Star Wars license. Those are expensive.
It's the IP as well, the IP, the licenses, and I'd say like the studio infrastructure is quite valuable too because EA has a lot of leading industry talent and artists and programmers and developers, and they've got the Dice engine, which Frostbite, sorry, which is owned by EA too, and there's a huge amount of assets tied up in what EA represents as an entity. It'd be a mammoth deal, and
Yeah.
I
I
can't,
mean, like EA is
can't
like
see it.
the one of the biggest publishers, if not the biggest publisher, and they would be getting bought out by a console manufacturer. It would be ridiculous. Like just the hot takes that day, just getting on and seeing people's reactions to Microsoft
It'd be
buying EA would be ridiculous. But then you think about it, like I said, there's no way they could keep FIFA, Madden, NHL, Star Wars licenses exclusive to Xbox because
no way.
like I'm pretty sure like the NFL has clauses in the contracts where they literally has to be out on every like system known to man. So like, and of course Microsoft is known, like, yeah, Minecraft's on everything. So in a hypothetical situation where Microsoft buys EA, I would imagine all their games would just be multi-platform. Microsoft would just keep them on PlayStation. Although, I mean, if you really were interested in like increasing Xbox sales, putting FIFA, Madden, and all those games exclusively on Xbox would increase the sales of Xbox, especially in Europe. If you put FIFA exclusively on Xbox in Europe, man,
They
that
crush it.
that
They would crush it. They
but
would crush
they,
PlayStation.
like all of like we said, EA's value is what, 40 billion. Like they make more than half of their money on PlayStation. So
Yeah.
like if you stop selling there, well, there goes half your revenue like out the window. That's a lot of money. And I know a lot of people are like just imagining, oh, Battlefield exclusive to Xbox, all these different games, but I don't see this as like based in reality whatsoever. I mean, maybe sure Microsoft was like looking into it, seeing if it was possible, but and maybe merging EA Access and Xbox Game Pass would be even a greater deal for them. You have even more value for Game Pass, but that's a lot of money for
I
that.
think I think Microsoft could make their money back if they bought EA. It's just the logistics. It's kind of
40,
like
oh, that's a lot of money.
Xbox would explode in complexity as an entity if they did that. I mean, Xbox is complicated enough as it is, and then they buy EA and throw in all these extra people, these extra studios, and God, it'd be huge. It'd be the biggest thing that's happened in gaming for a long time if they did buy EA. And I can't see it. It would be so exciting. It would be so exciting. I'm not sure it'd be a good thing, but it would be incredibly exciting if they did buy it. I just can't see it though. I mean, I was joking on Twitter about I was just I was joking on Twitter saying they're gonna buy Apple and Google as well, and then Mikey Barra was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna buy Purnell as well because I like hand sanitizer." And I spoke to some people at Microsoft, and they basically laughed at the idea. You know, um, they didn't even want to. They didn't even want to address it in any sort of credibility. I don't think it's a thing at all.
No, I don't think it's a thing either. I think it's just Polygon looking for clicks. It got his attention. The only reason people ran with it is because they're like literally putting quotes from a source close to Microsoft, right? So it's
I
like,
think
oh,
maybe I don't
wait,
think Polygon just straight made it up. I think either they've completely misinterpreted something. Like sometimes Microsoft put little jokes in their PowerPoint slides, and maybe they just took that as serious or something. I don't know, but um, they got something seriously wrong there. I don't think.
or
I
maybe
mean,
they
sure, I'm gonna.
maybe Microsoft was working with EA to buy one of their studios. Maybe Microsoft was looking to buy one of the studios that EA doesn't want anymore.
I mean, that's more plausible. Like, Microsoft has bought parts of failing companies before, like they bought Nokia's phone division for Windows Phone, and we all know
Well,
how
the way Polygon worded the art. See, okay, the way Polygon worded it was designed for maximum impact because they talk about, okay, here's the article about Microsoft's dire exclusive situation, right, where they talk about how Microsoft's games last year was terrible, and their current slate of games this year just can't compare to Sony's, right? Even though they said that Sony's slate this year includes Last of Us 2, which is clearly not coming out. And then they also talk about how they have third-party deals for all the games last year, which doesn't really make any sense when you're talking about 2018. Why would you mention Call of Duty World War II and Destiny 2? But I digress. And then they mentioned, oh, here's how Microsoft can fix it. It was acquisitions. And they start talking about, we've heard from a close search to Microsoft that they're looking to buy EA and then Valve and then PUBG. And then they literally have a quote from an analyst that's like, based on some of these things I've heard, we're expecting an announcement very, very soon. So it's like they put this source right next to an analyst who's talking about an announcement coming very soon. And you're like, well, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Like, that's how they played that. And then, of course, did you read their follow-up article yesterday about all this?
What did they say?
It was basically a NeoGAF like wish list of like, if it was just like an Xbox fan just writing about maybe Microsoft could buy Square Enix. Who wouldn't want Final Fantasy and Hitman and all these other games? Well, maybe Microsoft should buy Ubisoft. It was like literally just a wish list of stuff of who Microsoft should buy in the game. Well, of course, I'm sure Sony would love to buy Ubisoft and have Assassin's Creed and all these games too. It was just the dumbest. Like read the article when you get the chance. And even in the article, they're like, "Oh, the EA thing, this is not going to happen. It's unrealistic." And it's like, but you just wrote yesterday that's how they can fix it, and you had a source, and then today you're saying, nah, sorry, not happening.
I just don't believe it at all.
No,
I mean, maybe crazy things have happened, but I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either. I don't believe it either.
And they also cited Valve as being a potential purchase and PUBG, and I think it's pretty much an open secret that Microsoft tried to buy PUBG Corp or whatever they were called before they made PUBG Corp. I think it's pretty much an open secret that happened, and they couldn't achieve that for whatever reason. So if Microsoft couldn't close a deal to buy PUBG Corp, why do people think that they're going to close a deal to buy EA? I just can't see it at all.
Because a lot of it has to do with the groundbreaking announcement that would be. People would love to see that. A lot of other people would love to see Microsoft get all these games exclusive to the system, because that's what a lot of people think, that these games would be exclusive and they would help Xbox win the console war. That's what it's always about, the console war. And when you delve, realistically into it, like you said, Microsoft couldn't close the deal on PUBG Corp, which would have been a lot less money, and yet they're going to somehow buy EA for $40 billion, if not more. It's like, come on. Like, if they're going to buy it, it's going to be some small studio, or maybe a mid-sized studio that's independent, maybe somebody like Obsidian or something, but it ain't going to be a publisher. The only way this kind of makes sense is if Microsoft was leaving the hardware business and they wanted to become a third-party publisher, and they would buy EA to kind of buy into their infrastructure of all that. And then you'd have a super mega publisher of all of EA stuff plus all of Microsoft stuff selling on PC, PlayStation, and Switch. But I'm pretty sure that Microsoft isn't leaving the hardware business. So this kind of, it's just like hopeful thinking. Now, Valve, on the other hand, Valve makes more sense to me.
Valve makes a lot more sense, and PC gamers would hate it. I want it to happen just for the salt, the
salt would be
mountains of salt. Incredible. It would be amazing. It'd be like the apocalypse for some people. I reckon there'd be people out there sitting in their mom's basements, covered in Cheetos, crying if that happened, and I love it. And so I want it to happen on that basis alone. But a lot of people have said this wouldn't happen either, because Gabe Newell doesn't like Microsoft and stuff like that. But the thing is, people change, and Gabe Newell, a lot of Gabe Newell's negative comments about Microsoft happened in the old days of Windows 8 and stuff like that. And and now Windows is in a new situation now where Windows is struggling, and if Windows is struggling, then Steam is struggling. And there's no real room for Steam to grow anymore. You know, the PC market's pretty much flat. And yeah, PC gaming as a market is growing, but it can't really grow without Microsoft, and Steam can't grow without Microsoft, and Microsoft can't really grow PC gaming without Steam. So it's gotten to this point where they kind of need each other. And it's like someone said in the chat earlier, eventually Notch just got tired of running Minecraft and wanted to sell up. Maybe the people running Valve just get tired and want to sell up and move on to something else or start a new company, you know? So people change, you know? And I think Valve is a purchase that makes far more sense because it's the only way Microsoft can wrestle control of Windows back, because they've lost control of Windows, and PC gamers need the legacy code in Windows in order to run their games. Microsoft needs to get rid of the legacy code to make Windows more future-proofed. So the only way they can do that and force PC gamers, PC developers to start making games for the future Windows is to buy Steam. So that makes more sense to me. And
Yeah,
will it happen? I don't know, but
probably not. I mean, Valve is a private company. The only way that's going to happen is if Gabe decides to sell. I think Gabe has the majority stock ownership. And like you said, he's not really fond of Microsoft, but at the end of the day, he'll probably want to leave at some point. And I'm sure Microsoft would love to buy Valve, because with it you get PC gaming, you get Steam. Microsoft, like, I view their Xbox Play Anywhere initiative as basically them trying to be Steam. They use the allure of Xbox exclusives to draw PC gamers into being like, listen, try out the Windows 10 store, right? The idea was to get games there that PC gamers could come and play, and they could take the info to other publishers and be like, listen, we have a thriving community on PC. You can put your games on Windows 10, the gaming store, and they could just be another Valve or another Steam. Unfortunately, it didn't really turn out that way, did it? Because they didn't bother fixing the Windows Store, and it's still a mess. So why would any publisher want to put their game on Windows 10 Store? So it doesn't happen, and the Windows 10 kind of Xbox Play Anywhere thing really didn't work out well. So what's the next step? Well, if you can't create something, just buy it. So if you want to run PC gaming and you couldn't make Windows 10 Store what you thought you could make it, well, just buy Steam, just buy Valve, and there you go. But even then, that would be monumental, because all those PC guys, they hate Microsoft.
Oh yeah, they do.
Like, could you imagine if like Microsoft ran Steam? Oh, like would PC gamers, like, how would they cope? How would they like be able to, like, I don't know, man. Like, I just want it to happen just to hear like people just cry about it. That'd be amazing.
It'd be
But
hilarious.
it would also cost a lot less for Microsoft to buy Valve than it would EA. And honestly, think about it. This would probably return more money to Microsoft than EA acquisition would.
I think so too, and
So,
it'd be a lot simpler potentially. And you know, there's people kicking off in chat saying like, "Oh, but that means Steam wouldn't be on Mac," and it's like, shut up. You know, Microsoft. This isn't the '90s Microsoft. I mean, you've got Office on Mac. You've got Microsoft Edge coming to iPad, for God's sake. This is, if Microsoft bought Steam, you can guarantee it'd still be on Linux and it'd still be on Mac. You can download Linux distros from the bloody Windows Store now. So stay your tears, lads. See, there's even the mere suggestion of Steam being bought by Microsoft brings out the salt, man. It's funny.
yeah,
It is
I mean,
damn funny.
that is true. And then the other part of the rumor was PUBG, which I guess could still technically happen, even though, like you said, it was an open secret that Microsoft did try to buy them and it fell through. But then again, also open secret that apparently every company wants to buy PUBG Corp. So I just don't think any of these three are going to happen. I think they're just kind of like pie in the sky. We wish it could happen. It would be amazing if Microsoft, could have all these games, and but I just don't see it happening. I don't think
No, it
PUBG
won't happen.
sells.
It won't happen. It's just someone's wish list, man. You know, and if it does happen, fair enough. Egg on my face, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Hey, if it does happen, you will have like more stuff to talk about then. But for
Very
now, I
soon.
mean, it's just kind of one of those things where it's kind of like the other week on the podcast where Jez was like, type in chat who you want to see Microsoft to buy. It was literally Polygon did that as an article and then said they had a source saying that they were in talks or whatever the fucking source said. So I mean, like, Jez, once again, why don't you ask the people? Because we're just as credible as Polygon. Who should Microsoft buy?
Who should Microsoft buy, guys? Let us know. Do you want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah. So, Xbox Game Pass fallout. Did you see some of this stuff?
Yeah, the whole Game Pass thing. It was a bit strange because like I saw that and I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. You know, for me it was a no-brainer. But some of the more hardcore fans felt again that it was devaluing the Xbox, as a box. I think. I don't know. What's your take on it, Rand? On why were people pissed about this?
It was not so much. It's people and the retailers. The retailers
well, first of all, we need to let people know exactly what the news was, in case they missed it.
So Microsoft announced that going forward, in addition to whatever you normally get with Xbox Game Pass for the low price of $10, they'll be adding their own first-party games day and date. So you don't have to buy Sea of Thieves for $60 on launch. You can just subscribe for $10 and you can have access to it. And that's all their first-party games going forward. And we talked about it in the podcast. We both thought it was potentially could be a huge boon to Microsoft. But of course, like we said with Xbox Play Anywhere, they got to put in the work. You had to fix the Windows Store to get people to use Windows Store, and they didn't do it, so nobody cared. And if Microsoft rests on their laurels and don't make games and don't provide content for Game Pass, then Game Pass isn't going to do what they think it's going to do. So it's all up to Microsoft. But I've seen hot takes from everybody on the internet about how this devalues games. People are upset about how this is just one step closer to not owning games, period, and stuff like that. And I mean, I get the concern about like, hey, I like to buy games. I don't like to subscribe to stuff. But the thing I don't understand is like Sea of Thieves is still coming out physically. Like you can still go to the store and buy a copy if you want.
Yep.
And I would imagine more copies are going to be sold physically than people who are
sold
going
out.
to.
Yeah, Amazon sold through their allocation, and while their allocation might not have been that big, because I don't think even Microsoft expected Sea of Thieves to be as popular as it did prove on Twitch. But yeah, Amazon sold out of its physical copies, so that says to me that it's not everyone's not rushing to get this on Game Pass. Like there is a genuine interest.
Yeah, I mean it's great for the consumer. I mean, you can't knock paying $10 to play a bunch of new games. Does it? I guess the fear is that Microsoft is moving into more a service-based approach, rather than just like a traditional way of doing business. Like they look at Sony and Nintendo, and they do video games the traditional way, right? Where this is for Microsoft, I guess, not the non-traditional way. And I mean, change always scares people. Like, and change scares retailers.
Oh yeah. Retailers have it tough. So like anything that screws over retailers, they're kind of scared of.
No, see, Insomnitech says the physical copy is going to be worthless on return if you want to resell. That's not necessarily true. Like the basis of your returns is based on supply and demand. If there is a large demand for Sea of Thieves used copies and you sell your back, you're going to get a high price for it. If there's not a lot of demand for it and there's a lot of supply, like people bought it and returning it, yeah, you're going to get a low price. I don't think Game Pass affects that whatsoever. I mean, the only thing it would affect is maybe less copies of Sea of Thieves out in the wild, but then that still can mean there's a high demand for a used copy of it. I mean, we'll look. This also, we don't even know if Game Pass is going to be a success. You know, like it could be a failure. We don't know how many people are going to even use it. I mean, what is there, around 35 million Xbox Ones?
Yeah.
You know, Microsoft, you know, they're not getting 35 million people to sign up for the service.
Well, that's the thing. Well, yeah, obviously they're not going to get that many people, but the thing is, with Xbox Game Pass, they can actually they could potentially market it to PC gamers as well, because if you get Xbox Game Pass, you get Sea of Thieves, Gears of War, whatever on PC as well.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
So
just like kind of a branch of Xbox Play Anywhere. I mean, I know what you're saying, and yeah, that'd be beneficial, but it seems to me that most PC gamers want nothing to do with Windows 10 Store, and even for the low price of $10, I don't even think that's going to matter.
yeah, maybe. I mean, en masse for sure, but you know, a lot of people are going to play Sea of Thieves on PC. You know, especially Twitch streamers and stuff who play all of their games on PC generally. Some, especially the big ones. So I don't know. I think I personally think Game Pass is going to be a big deal, and I don't think Microsoft would have done this if they didn't think it was going to be one, because they've got they've got reams of data that reflect their moves, you know. And yeah, the Windows 10 store is garbage. It's terrible. It's awful. It's a travesty. It's a continuing tragedy on the face of everything decent about gaming, uh, to put it mildly. But at the same time, once you've installed the games, you don't have to deal with it anymore. You can just play the games and just pretend the Windows Store doesn't exist. So it's not like it stops. It's not like it ruins your life. It's just not as good as Steam at the end of the day. And I think Game Pass could be big. And the thing is, like, a lot of people were saying stuff like, "Oh, this means Microsoft going to make service-driven games to force people to buy that stuff," and it's like, no, they're gonna. You know, I've spoken to people at Microsoft who said specifically the whole Game Pass thing supports single player games, because they can lay a Game Pass on top of it as a sort of service that helps fund single player experiences and spread those single player experiences throughout the year to try and incentivize people to buy Xbox Game Pass. And it's like, it changes the way they look at funding games. So I think if they pull it off, it could just be, I don't think there's any downsides. It gives an option to consumers, potentially funds more types of games to spread games throughout the year to get people to keep their sub rolling. And also it paves the way for more digital future and maybe discless consoles, you know. So
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm still looking at it like, because even I'm sure you saw the article about all these like UK retailers being like, this just destroys our Xbox business overnight, right? I don't I don't get that, because it's only their first party games going in Game Pass. It's like 3 games a year, maybe at most 4, you know? And the majority of games sold on PlayStation and Xbox are multi-platform games, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Like by far, what do you, if you could imagine the split, what's the split between third-party games sold on Xbox versus first party? It's probably like what, 90% to 10%, or maybe
Oh
even
yeah,
more.
definitely, yeah.
So like the idea that like suddenly the retail Xbox business is killed because 3 games from Microsoft are going day and date doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because like Far Cry's not going there, Battlefield's not going, like all these other third party games with the majority of sales are on Xbox aren't going to be in Game Pass.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe they're looking 5 years down the road, and maybe it's that, like, oh, 5 years from now, maybe this is the model of gaming going forward, and then at that point the retail business is destroyed. Okay, sure, and I get it, it's your business, you need to protect it, but I don't know how often I've heard from PlayStation fans that there are no games on Xbox. So by putting, the Xbox games in Game Pass, nobody wants them anyways, right? I mean, I don't know, like that whole retailer thing just doesn't, it doesn't make like a lot of sense to me just yet. I mean, if it was announced that Ubisoft was doing it, or hell, even Sony had their own, I would get it. But it's literally 3 games. I mean, that's what it is. It's 3 games, 4 games, and yet these retailers are like crying it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, honestly, yeah, I do think this is kind of the future model. Maybe, I mean, obviously, clearly the future model for Microsoft.
I
The
don't. I don't.
present
I
model,
don't think they're gonna. They're never gonna stop you buying the games outright. I don't think. And it's like even now, you can still buy music outright. That's never gonna go away. I don't think. I don't think we'll even get to a point where you won't be able to buy physical copies of games anymore. Or maybe they'll work harder to add value to the physical versions of games. Like, when you buy CDs now, they come with all this extra stuff, and they come in really nice cases, and they've got like, the little books with all the extra information in the lyrics and stuff like that. It's to try and incentivize you to buy the CDs. I mean, why would I buy a physical copy of a game now? It doesn't even come with an instruction manual anymore. They used to be kind of cool.
well, the idea now is that if like Xbox Live or PlayStation ever goes down, you can just pop in your disc and play it.
Well, that too.
Or if you're a collector and just want to see the case on your store shelves. I mean, look, digital. I think time has shown, history has shown that people will go wherever the convenience factor is. CDs went to the wayside with iTunes and MP3s, clearly. Movies, they're like the same kind of formula. Everything's streaming now. Netflix, like even books. Like history has shown when a more convenient way to do something is introduced, people will flock to that. Now, the difference between games and other things is games are inherently expensive. They're $60 or $70. Music, movies, and books were always a little bit cheaper. So the idea of paying $10 and getting access to a whole bunch of new games is going to be appealing to a lot of people. But unless this is like industry adopted, I don't really see it affecting like the Game Pass model. And I want to specifically say the Game Pass model, I don't think it affects very much. Now, what I will say it affects retail a lot more is just the whole digital push itself. Every single year, more and more digital copies are sold. Digital is what's going to eventually kill the physical market. Like Game Pass with just Microsoft doing it.
The thing is, though, it's not just digital. It's Amazon too. It's like people can't be bothered to go to a shop. They just order it off Amazon. Amazon is killing all retail.
That is very true. Yeah,
because like especially in England, like the high street in my town in England is dead. Like there's so many boarded up shops, clothes shops, and all of the sort of shops that don't sell games and aren't affected by digital because they sell physical goods. Because people can't be bothered to leave their fucking houses anymore. And they've got Amazon Prime. If you've got Amazon Prime, you want to use Amazon Prime. You don't want to waste Amazon Prime. So you just order off Amazon Prime. Like, I'm going to order a kettle right now because I've just reminded myself that we need a new kettle. And I'm not going to go down the shop and buy a kettle. I'm going to order it off Amazon because it's well fucking easier. So retailers can bitch all they want because the internet, they failed to adapt to an internet age where convenience is God. And retail isn't convenient. I mean, why do I need to have a car? I need to fucking get a parking space and deal with all these dirty people.
And deal with people?
Deal with people
at the store? Ew, yuck. No, exactly. I mean, yeah, convenience.
I have to put on pants,
I know, right? I can shop on Amazon without pants on.
Yeah.
When I go to the store, I got to put pants on. They don't let me in the store without pants.
Exactly.
I know people will pay for convenience and why digital take it off. It's like I have a collection of like 800 games. I can just press a button and it's there. It's done. I don't have to worry about space taking up everywhere. It's just I don't know. I mean, it's the way it is, and I think the price of the games is why it hasn't kind of already just gone 100% digital. Like. Because music and movies and stream, like, I mean, I know Netflix took some time, but like when Netflix first introduced in streaming, it wasn't that long before Blockbuster was out of business, Yeah. I mean, like, you remember the arguments like people would say about Blockbuster can't go away because because you love going to the store on Friday nights and perusing the aisle and seeing what's there and hoping that the movie you want in is in. Nobody is going to want to stream. People love the experience of going to Blockbuster with their friends and like, are you serious? Like that's what they thought. And the funny thing is Blockbuster could have bought Netflix before this all could have started. Like they had the opportunity to buy Netflix. They didn't think Netflix was that big of a threat to them. And look what happened. Netflix killed them. You know?
I used to go to Blockbuster and rent like games. I remember
So did I.
I remember renting Clay Fighter for the Super Nintendo and being so disappointed. That game was terrible.
This isn't the late 90s. I'm sorry, man. I'm like I'm a child of the 80s, grew up during the 90s. Like I remember going to Blockbuster and trying to rent movies and shit.
So
You know,
I actually did like going to Blockbuster, but I don't like going to Blockbuster more than just being lazy and sitting at home.
look, I remember when you had to remember your phones when you had to remember your friends' actual phone numbers because you had like rotary phones. Like it wasn't just in the cell phone. Like I'm that old. I remember these things. I remember a time before the internet when there was no internet.
The darkest.
I know. Time. Like when web pages loaded super slow when internet did come. I mean, geez. And now we're here.
Tamagotchis. Do you remember those?
Yes, I did. Yes.
The little egg things, the little pets. You could feed them and no. And maybe you're too old. You might be slightly too old for Tamagotchis.
I remember when a pack of cigarettes by my house when I first started smoking when I was 15 cost $2. You know how much they cost now? $10. $10 for a pack of cigarettes. Are you kidding me? Who would want to smoke when a pack of cigarettes costs $10?
It's bad for you, Rand.
It is bad, but I'm just saying I feel bad for anybody that's still addicted to smoking because $10? I mean, Jesus.
I remember carrier pigeons. No, I don't.
You remember carrier pigeons?
No, I took it too far.
I remember, yes, I started smoking at 15, yes.
Wow, Rand is the super badass over here.
No, I don't smoke anymore. God, I quit 10 years ago.
Smoking at 15 is like just so hardcore.
Smoke a pack of Marlboro Red a day.
Were you like one of those gang kids? Like
no, I'm like the exact opposite of
rule. That was you.
The exact opposite of what a gang. I grew up in the suburbs. Dude.
I could just imagine Rand like in the bathroom at school. Like Life is Strange. Like that kid. Oh, what's his name? The bad kid. That was you. You were the bad kid.
I wasn't
rebel Al Thor.
I was
rebel
not. I was not a rebel. I was definitely not a rebel.
Oh God!
But I do recall going to Blockbuster many a Friday nights with my friends, walking the aisles and trying to find something to watch, and then being amazed. And then being amazed when I was like, you can just get it delivered from Netflix to your door. And then being amazed when it was like, you can just stream it on the internet. Who needs to go to Blockbuster? I mean,
oh God,
that's kind of true. I mean, to a certain degree, but
why did we even start talking about this?
I don't know. We were kind of talking about the retailers freaking out about Xbox Game Pass.
It's turned into a nostalgia cast again.
You know. Sometimes people love hearing about the nostalgia cast.
Do you remember dial-up? The little noise it used to make?
No, but I am from Chicago, so I'm in the Midwest. And in Chicago, since we have insanely high taxes,
I bet Rand was a thug in school and hustling people for their money. Yeah, I bet Randall Thug. Rebel Al Thug.
No, I don't smoke. I don't do any drugs. Period. I don't drink. I don't smoke. The only thing I do is I just play Xbox. I play video games. I play Xbox.
Thor.
I play PlayStation. You know.
Everyone's coming up with gangster names for you now. Let's hear some more Rand gangster names.
D-Bone Thor, Chirac Rand. You know.
Young Rand. Randall Pimp.
I like that one.
Well,
the only way I see this happening is if Game Pass is if Microsoft is 100% right and this is the future and they have millions upon millions, tens of millions sign up for the service, take that info to the third parties and the third parties, put their games in there with Game Pass, then could I see like the retailers panicking. But it's like 3 or 4 games from Microsoft. You still have the entire 99% of all the other games that come out on Xbox that need to be sold. So,
it's not going to affect things so badly like people think. I think it's just going to be a really cool way to, like, people who maybe wouldn't have bought Sea of Thieves outright, maybe now they'll just try it for $10 and maybe they'll like it enough to pick it up because Game Pass has an exclusive discount attached to it. Maybe they'll pick it up with the discount afterwards, and basically they've spent an extra, what, like $2 or something to try out the full game. It's almost a no-brainer at that point.
It's like a demo thing. I mean, 10 million people in Game Pass is $100 million a month.
That's a lot of money.
I mean, that's a lot of money, but they gotta have the content to be able to put that stuff and get that type of like. I wonder what Microsoft's like, what their projections are. Like, say they're at 35 million. Like, is 10 million even like feasible at this point? Like, could you get 10 million out of the 35? Could you get half? Could you get 15? I mean, that's a lot of people. I mean, I know it's a great value, but like a lot of people just maybe won't even care. I mean, just because it's advertised on the dashboard doesn't mean shit. Because I saw people saying this, like, well, there's all over the dashboard. I'm like, yeah, but so was Recore before Recore came out. Like, just because it's on the dashboard doesn't mean anything. Yeah, Recore didn't sell no 10 million copies. It was on the dashboard. I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what in Microsoft like boardroom what their like internal projections are for this, like year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5 type stuff.
That'd be interesting. I believe in it, man. I believe in Game Pass. I'm not going to subscribe to it myself because
Microsoft is going to give you a year for free like they do everybody else.
That is true.
Yeah, see when Jez says that stuff, just realize that Jez...
but the thing is, I don't subscribe to EA Access either.
Yes, because EA Access, they give it to you. They gave you a year.
I don't get... EA hates me. I don't get stuff.
Did or did not Microsoft send you a code for 1 year of EA Access with your Xbox One X review unit?
I gave it away on Twitter.
No, you didn't. You used it. Stop lying, Jez.
I didn't use it. I swear I didn't use it. I'm going to check. I'm pretty sure I gave that away. I'm going to check right now.
I don't know.
I own all the games on EA Access, and I was really salty that I couldn't buy Mass Effect 3 on EA outright because it was attached.
I think you can now, though.
You can now, and I was really happy because I don't want to subscribe to EA Access because I like owning my games. Now, look, I don't have EA Access. There you go. Available memberships, EA Access. See, Rand? See?
There you go. Well, I'm subscribed to EA Access,
Why?
and I'm subscribed to Xbox Game Pass.
I say I don't subscribe to EA Access because I don't play the sports games, and I feel like it's not worth the money then.
I don't know. I think I like both of them. I like playing some of the stuff early when it comes out, and I just bought a code for like $30 for a whole year, and it was it. It was good times.
Good times, baby.
Good times had by all. But this thing, is there anything else we want to talk about, or should we just end this nostalgia cast?
Well, did you want to talk about Sea of Thieves briefly?
I mean, didn't we kind of already talk about Sea of Thieves?
I guess so. I mean, what? Okay, then. Just give me your favorite moment from the Sea of Thieves beta. Then, like, let's describe our Sea of Thieves best moments.
My favorite moment. We were attacking this ship, and we got up super close from them, and I jumped onto their ship and like killed 2 of their guys, and then dropped the anchor, and then we sunk their ship, and we left after stealing their treasure. But then those guys respawned on the outpost we were going to. So when we were bringing our chest of sorrow, which is the one that cries, I don't know if you got one of those yet.
Oh yeah, I hate those.
They killed me and Phil, took the chest, and then cashed it in themselves.
That's common, man.
So yeah, that was probably the coolest moment. And
my My mom was basically the same. I was playing with 4 dudes on Mixer and we were streaming, and we were just sailing around some island, and we found a boat just parked there. 2 guys up on the cliff. The boat's basically left alone, and we just dropped the anchor, nuked this boat into Swiss cheese, jumped over to their boat, stole all their chests. Their dude came with their new chest. We shot him in the water, stole his extra chest, and then ran away. And it was just so harsh. I felt so guilty, but also so good at the same time.
Hmm.
But
Oh, there is one more topic I wanted to talk about. I just forgot it because it's about Nintendo, and Nintendo news always kind of slips my mind. They announced that they've sold 14.89 million Switches, which
beats the
is
Wii U, right?
more than the Wii U. That Super Mario Odyssey is over 9 million sold already.
Dang.
I think that Mario Kart 8's over 8, Zelda's over 6, a whole bunch of stuff. Now, the question to you is, does the Switch pass Microsoft this year or next year?
Oh,
They
probably
keep in
this,
mind they just did like 15 million in 10 months, right?
probably this year,
No,
man.
no,
Let's be honest.
yeah, 10 months. How long until they actually edge out Microsoft?
This year, I think probably.
You think so? You think they'll? I mean, say they probably need another 20 million would be to tie. I would imagine. I would think 2019 is more of a pragmatic
The problem is
estimate.
we don't really know how many Xbox Ones are out there.
This is true. I kind of usually just keep it within like 2 to 1 to Sony. Sony's at like 70 some odd million. Microsoft's at 35. You know,
It's really annoying as well because Xbox doesn't consider the Switch to be competition, but it is competition.
it's $300 someone buys on the Switch and some games they ain't spending on your console. Like I don't, everything's competition.
It is competition. You can't look at 2 screens at once. It's definitely competition. It's direct competition, and there is crossover. Some people just want a console to play games. They don't necessarily care about 4K. They just want the best games. And okay, you can't get AAA games on the Switch or a lot of the new AAA games, but it has a lot of great games on it already. And it totally fits around people's busy lives because you can carry around with you. A Switch
No,
is compelling.
look, I've taken my L on the Switch. I thought it would be more in the line of the Wii U. Nobody would care. But now you have this huge success, 15 million in 10 months, right? Because it's about what it is. 10 months, like came out in March. Maybe the Wii U is the exception, and the Wii and the Switch are the rule. I there's just no stopping Nintendo right now. I mean, Mario sold 9 million copies, and that game came out at the end of October.
Yeah.
On one platform. Keep in mind, that is on a single platform. Like, this isn't like we talk about Star Wars selling 7 million or, Call of Duty selling this like 20. Like, Call of Duty's on multiple platforms, like 3. Like, Mario's only on the Switch. It's like 9 million copies out of 14 million people. That is an insane attach ratio.
It's also because there just isn't that many options on the Switch, though.
Yeah,
Remember.
but people say that all the time. But like every single time I see these indie developers put their games there and be like, our game sold more in 1 week than it sold combined everywhere else.
Because
Like,
there's no games on
yeah,
the Switch.
but more and more games keep on going to the Switch because obviously developers realize now that people are buying games. I mean, okay, yeah. How many games come out for Xbox?
Dude, I heard this argument with Windows Phone back in the day where they were saying like back in the Windows Phone 8 days and Windows Phone 7 days, the developers were saying, "Oh, you should go to Windows Phone because there's no competition like there is on Android." And
and
like, well, it's just a silly argument.
and did those developers go to Windows because they're like, or did they not?
They did some of them, but
And
then Windows Phone died.
yeah, because nobody was on Windows Phone. Nobody cared about Windows Phone, Jazz. I hate to break it to you.
Oh, oh man.
I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised when sales numbers come out for Celeste if Celeste sold the best on Switch. Even though PlayStation has 70 million people, even though Xbox has 35 million people, even though PC has millions, hundreds of millions of people, I wouldn't be surprised if Switch is number one and by a huge margin. I don't know. Maybe that continues on forever, or maybe that stops when the market's saturated like it is on Xbox and PlayStation. I think on PlayStation there's 14 games coming out this week. I think on Xbox there's like 6 or 7. Like, and that's every single week. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. I did own a Windows Phone, Burrow, and Jez did as well. But
I owned many.
I mean, what was the point of owning a Windows Phone? Nobody at Microsoft even used a Windows Phone.
Yep.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared about
it. It's funny because they're probably going to release a new phone very soon.
You know what's funny is how much did they spend to buy Nokia, only to basically fire everybody?
8 billion, something in that.
Was it? I thought it was more than that.
Well, I don't know. I can't remember. Microsoft buys Nokia for 7.2 billion. So they only bought their phone unit and access to some patents and branding and stuff. And yeah, they basically fired everyone and shut the whole thing down. By the way, in their quarterly earnings report, they reported phone revenues now at 200 million, which is surprisingly high
or something. Doesn't Microsoft have some? Doesn't like Google have to pay Microsoft something to do with Android or something?
Oh yeah, Google has to pay Microsoft a shitload of royalties because of Android subsystems. So Microsoft probably makes more money on Android than they do on Windows in mobile, which is funny, kind of.
That's not true, Berserker. Plenty of people at Microsoft play Xbox, not on their PCs. But of course, there are people that play on their PCs there too. But
they also play on PlayStation and Switch.
I know.
They're just kind of gamers, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's people at Xbox who don't play video games. I'm not going to say that they all do, just because there are clearly some that don't. But that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay, baby.
That's okay.
Should we take some questions?
Yeah, we'll take a couple before we gotta get out of here. Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Enrique wants to know, did I pick up Monster Hunter World? Capcom is back. I do have Monster Hunter World, and I'm not playing it.
Same here. I've got it, but I'm not playing it either. It's overwhelmingly complicated, I find, so far. I mean, I just have to find the time to sit down and actually go through all the different systems and menus, and it's like, it made me feel old. I was like, oh my god, this is...
Uncompetitive says Mike Ybarra plays PUBG too damn much. He needs to do some work. Hear that, Mike? You play PUBG too much. Get back to work.
Fix the Windows Store. Stop playing PUBG.
You just have everybody. I mean, he's the boss, so you just tell everybody to do his work for him. Or, here, you need to do this, and this. I need to go play PUBG.
Rand, tell Jez how Poseidon dies. Tell me how Poseidon dies.
You kill him pretty awesomely.
Is it gory?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. Kind of goes into like this first person, or like beating the crap out of him. Lot of QuickTime events in God of War, which I will say the QuickTime button prompts on PlayStation controller really screws with my head because I'm so used to like the Xbox controller layout, you know. So when it's like X, I think X is like where the bot, you know. Yeah, so it's kind of like that. I want to see Rand play and stream Persona 5. Yeah.
Play Persona 5.
Maybe one day.
That's one game that I really wish I had on Xbox. Persona. I got Persona 3 and 4 on the PS2 back in the day. Persona 5 looks great, but I just can't play it because no PlayStation.
Jez, do you want a gangster name?
People don't just send me free PlayStations like they send you them.
You want a gangster name, Jez?
Gangster name. Yeah, I want a gangster name. Nocturi says, Jez, how much % was the last beta you played in comparison to the final product? I haven't played the final product, so I can't tell you. The stuff I saw wasn't even the final product, which is really, really encouraging. So I don't know.
Rand, are you a Dragon Ball Fighter Z or Dragon Ball Z fan? I mean, I used to watch Dragon Ball Fighter that the anime or whatever on Cartoon Network with my brother. But I wouldn't necessarily call myself a fan of it. Like my brother used to really love it. I'd watch it with him, but he also really loved like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and stuff, and I would have to like watch that with him.
Oh, Rody just said, "Did you guys talk about Gigantic closing their servers?" I noticed that Gigantic got an update on my Xbox earlier. I'm guessing that's what it was to shut down.
Aw, poor Gigantic.
It's kind of a shame.
Yeah. Rain City Gamers wants to know if I ever stream on Twix and Mixer. I usually stream on Mixer, although I haven't been doing that often. I'm trying to get my schedule right. Sometimes it's just I don't have a lot of time to do stuff because I gotta go to class in like an hour from now. And sometimes I just don't feel like streaming, and I don't know. It's just kind of is how it is. Irrelevant Native wants me to tell you how wrong is Jez for liking the Mass Effect. He's very wrong. He's about as wrong as he's ever been about anything.
Look, it's art, okay? You have to be intelligent to understand why Mass Effect 3's ending isn't that bad. It's on another sort of level, okay? I'm going to download that game right now and play it.
Mega Bad Seed brings up an interesting point. He says, free first-party games in Game Pass, well, technically it's not free because you got to pay $10 a month, will help gamers to buy other games with their savings. Microsoft will just coup more money back that way. What do you think about that, Jez? The idea that, so you save money from...
point that I didn't even think about.
You save $60 on Sea of Thieves, you get it for 10. So you add that 50, you could essentially go and buy another game that was on Microsoft's platform. What do you think about that?
That is smart. And I'm gutted that I didn't think of it before, and I'm going to steal that point and use an editorial and not credit you. Thanks.
Dude,
no,
don't do Mega Bad Seed like that.
That's a lie. That's a lie. I'm not going to write that. I can't be bothered. But it's a really good point. It's just good all around. It's a smart move by Microsoft, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sony mirror it in some way. Yeah, there's no downside.
There's no downside, he says. No downside. What's the most recent movie y'all have seen from Blackbird? The most recent movie I saw was Blade Runner 2049, I believe.
Oh, I've got that on my hard drive ready to rock.
Oh, it's on Xbox fantastic. Love it.
I'm so annoyed that it did bad at the box office because it probably means there won't be another one.
Yeah, but it was a amazing movie. Loved it.
I watched the opening scene with Dave Bautista, and I thought he was excellent. Even though he's in there very briefly. He's a good guy.
They're going to say even though he's a former WWE wrestler.
Yeah. He does a mean powerbomb, that guy. Batista bomb. Batista was awesome.
Indeed. So what else? Any more questions? I saw a lot of people say that they're with you, that there's nothing wrong with the Microsoft Mass Effect 3 ending.
Well, the thing is, didn't they patch the Mass Effect 3 ending?
They did. Yeah.
I haven't played the patched version. So I'm going off the base version.
I'm going off the base version too. I didn't play a patch where they put a whole bunch of different stuff in it.
Well, I'm gonna play through it again, I think, instead of playing Monster Hunter. Because I still Rand, I've never 100%ed achievements on a game.
You should.
I have got one achievement left in Mass Effect 1, which is insane difficulty.
It wasn't that hard.
Yeah, but I'm not a pro gamer.
Clearly you're not a pro gamer.
I don't think I've ever completed any game on insane difficulty. I always just play on sort of
Mass Effect 2 on Insane was difficult in spots. There's a couple segments of Mass Effect 2 on Insane that were just ridiculous.
Well, the thing I'm worried about in Mass Effect 1 on Insane is the Benezia fight, because that is really messy fight. And like they're all immune to crowd control and stuff. God. I don't know.
You don't know.
It's really funny. People keep saying that I'm being paid to promote Sea of Thieves. Why can't I just like a fucking game? Please let me like a game, for God's sake.
Because in this day and age, everybody's getting paid to promote something.
I've never been paid to promote.
Well, I saw some people saying that. The only reason it was #1 on Twitch for all those days was because Microsoft was paying streamers to stream it. But Microsoft wasn't paying anybody to stream it. So
they didn't pay anybody to stream it.
Now, that's not saying they won't pay people to stream it when it officially releases, because companies do that. But nobody paid anybody, for this stuff.
People are so weird with the conspiracy theories.
Well, I think people just want Sea of Thieves to fail.
It's
Honestly.
sad. Why do you want a game to fail? Even if you don't have an Xbox or a PC, why do you want a game to fail? Why do you want these hundreds of people who've put their heart and
Ooh.
soul into a game? Why do you want it to fail?
I like that.
Fucking sad people.
The name from T'Challa, Randall Capone, and Jez Corleone.
Oh, genius.
There you go.
That's brilliant.
There you go.
Oh, the Almighty Spartan says he stole them.
He
That's
stole
a very
them.
It's a very gangster thing.
That is
to
very
steal them.
gangsta if he stole them from you.
So it's double gangster now. Oh man.
Anyways, I think that's it for the show today. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button. It helps out the show and the channel a lot. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and make sure you follow Jez Corden on Twitter. Link is in the description of the video as always. Jez, what are you working on for Windows Central this week?
I am working on a huge amount of content for Sea of Thieves, new information, all about loads of stuff that I can't tell you about yet, but it's all going to drop on Windows Central on February 13th, so not next week, the week after, at midnight PST, and it's going to be glorious. I am really excited for the game, more so than I was after playing the beta, even though I was pretty excited after playing the beta. I'm now no longer running on blind faith. I just really excited for what they've got planned. So check that out if you're interested, or at least check it out on some other website, because a lot of outlets went to see Sea of Thieves. But yeah, mine will be positive. So if you want positive coverage, come to Windows Central.
That's it. Yeah. So if you follow Jez on Twitter, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on this one, and we will see everybody next week. Who knows what other rumor, some other website or something we'll make up about Microsoft that we'll have to talk about. This has been Randall Capone and Jez Corleone signing off. We'll see you next week. Later, guys.
Take care, everybody.